Your brother-in-law Dave probably swears by his foolproof method for saving petrol, while your neighbor Sarah insists her special fuel brand works miracles on engine performance. Social media influencers and self-proclaimed automotive experts flood the internet with questionable fuel-saving advice ranging from magical gadgets to bizarre filling rituals that border on superstition. Today I'm exposing 8 deeply ingrained misconceptions that are draining your bank account every time you visit the forecourt, and trust me, some of these will shock you with their complete lack of scientific basis. Stay tuned until the end, because the final revelation could save you several £100s annually. Let's start with that widespread belief that using premium petrol automatically delivers better performance and engine cleanliness compared to regular unleaded. Oil companies spend millions on marketing campaigns designed to convince you that their high-octane fuel will transform your family hatchback into a racing machine. The reality is far more mundane. Octane rating serves one primary purpose: preventing knock in high-compression engines. If your owner's manual specifies 87 octane, upgrading to 91 or 95 octane provides absolutely zero benefits. Your engine won't run faster, consume less fuel, or last longer regardless of what the advertisements claim. Regarding the supposed cleaning properties of premium fuel, that's pure marketing spin, because all petrol grades contain identical detergent packages mandated by government regulations. These additives prevent deposit formation in fuel system components, nothing more, nothing less. Some drivers swear they notice improvements, but this represents an expensive placebo effect that can cost £300 to £400 extra per year depending on your mileage. Independent laboratory tests consistently show no measurable performance differences between engines running premium versus regular fuel when the manufacturer recommends standard octane. Another persistent myth suggests that filling up during morning hours yields more fuel for your money. This theory assumes cooler temperatures create denser petrol, meaning each liter contains more energy compared to midday purchases. However, this logic completely ignores underground storage realities at retail stations. Fuel tanks are buried several meters below ground where temperatures remain virtually constant year-round, typically hovering around 12 to 14 degrees Celsius. Whether you fill up at 6 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, you're pumping identical fuel at the same temperature. Pump dispensers are calibrated to compensate for temperature variations using a standard reference of 15 degrees Celsius. This urban legend persists because it creates the illusion of beating the system with insider knowledge. In reality, the only noticeable difference might involve fuel vapor evaporation during extremely hot weather, but this doesn't affect the quantity you're purchasing. Government testing agencies have repeatedly debunked this myth, yet it continues spreading through automotive forums and social media groups. If you're finding this information valuable, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to catch all our practical automotive advice. Your support enables us to keep debunking these costly myths and providing scientifically verified tips. Now let's examine cruise control and its reputation as a fuel-saving technology. On perfectly flat motorways, cruise control does maintain consistent speeds that optimize consumption by eliminating unconscious speed variations. But once terrain becomes challenging, this technology becomes counterproductive rather than helpful. During uphill climbs, cruise control stubbornly maintains programmed speeds by overworking the engine, whereas experienced drivers would accept modest speed reductions. On downhill sections, it fails to anticipate and sometimes brakes unnecessarily instead of utilizing natural vehicle momentum. Skilled drivers who read road conditions and adapt their technique to topographical changes will always outperform rigid automated systems. However, we must acknowledge that most motorists lack both the skill and patience required for perfectly optimized driving techniques. For them, cruise control remains preferable to erratic driving habits involving sudden acceleration and frequent speed changes. Modern adaptive systems show improvements, but they still can't match human intelligence when it comes to anticipating traffic flow and road conditions. Let's address the dangerous practice of topping off fuel tanks after automatic nozzle shutoff. This seemingly harmless habit can cause substantial damage to your vehicle's emission control systems. When the pump nozzle clicks off, your tank is completely full. End of story. Forcing additional fuel risks damaging the charcoal canister, a critical component in your car's vapor recovery system. This device captures fuel vapors and routes them back to the engine for combustion, preventing atmospheric release. Once saturated with liquid fuel, the canister loses effectiveness and requires replacement, a repair costing between 200 and 500 pounds depending on your vehicle model. Furthermore, petrol expands when heated, and that extra fuel you've added may overflow once your car sits in direct sunlight. You're not only wasting fuel but also creating fire hazards and potentially damaging your vehicle's paintwork. Environmental Protection Agency studies show that overfilling contributes significantly to groundwater contamination and air pollution in urban areas. Moving on to that stubborn myth claiming that driving with nearly empty tanks damages engines. This fear stems from the mistaken belief that fuel pumps draw more contaminants from tank bottoms when levels are low. In reality, fuel pickup screens always sit at the lowest tank point regardless of fuel quantity. If debris exists in your tank, it gets drawn through the system whether full or nearly empty. That's precisely why fuel filters exist, to trap contaminants before reaching fuel injectors. The only legitimate concern involves fuel pump cooling, as surrounding petrol provides temperature regulation. Consistently running near empty could theoretically shorten pump lifespan, but you'd need to abuse this practice severely to notice measurable effects. Manufacturers design fuel systems to withstand normal usage patterns, and occasional reserve running won't cause immediate damage. Modern fuel pumps are remarkably robust and typically last well over 100,000 miles, even with varied driving habits. Let's debunk the notion that major brand stations offer superior fuel compared to independent retailers. All petrol sold across the country originates from identical refineries and meets the same stringent government specifications. The same tanker truck delivering to Shell in the morning might supply the supermarket station that afternoon with precisely the same base product. The only difference lies in proprietary additive packages that certain brands blend into their fuel. These chemical cocktails promise engine cleaning, corrosion protection, and performance enhancement. But let's be realistic, these additives represent less than 1% of total volume and produce marginal effects on properly maintained engines. No independent study has ever demonstrated significant performance or longevity differences between engines fed branded versus supermarket fuel. What matters most remains consistent maintenance schedules, quality motor oil, and adherence to service intervals, not fuel brand loyalty. Consumer advocacy groups consistently find that supermarket fuel meets or exceeds industry standards while offering substantial cost savings. Finally, let's tackle the habit of shutting off engines at every stop hoping to save fuel. This practice made sense during the carburetor era when cold starts required substantial fuel enrichment for reliable ignition. Today's fuel injection systems manage startup with surgical precision, delivering only what's absolutely necessary for smooth operation. On warm engines, the consumption difference between restarting and 30 seconds of idling is negligible. However, frequent restart cycles prematurely wear starter motors, alternators, and batteries. These components cost significantly more to replace than the few milliliters of petrol you might save. Stop-start systems now equip most new vehicles, but they use reinforced starters and specialized batteries designed for repeated cycling. For stops exceeding 1 minute, shutting off makes sense, but for 30-second traffic lights, let it idle without guilt. The key is understanding when technology helps versus when traditional approaches remain superior. There you have it, the truth about these persistent myths that cost poorly informed motorists dearly. The most effective fuel economy strategies remain smooth driving techniques, proper vehicle maintenance, and resistance to automotive folklore. If this video has opened your eyes to these misconceptions, subscribe to our channel and activate notifications to discover more automotive advice that delivers genuine savings. Share this information with others too, because fighting automotive misinformation benefits everyone on the road.